You can proceed, please.
Okay, we're good to go. Okay, are we good to go? We have everyone. We have all the candidates.
Yes, you can proceed, please.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Well, welcome to the second AKISAN presidential debate. Today, I have the pleasure of having a co-moderator, Professor Kevin Ita. Of course, most people know who I am. I'm Professor John Okon. I'm a professor of communication in the Washington, D.C. area. I serve as the chair of communication at Washington Adventist University in Tacoma Park, Maryland. And also, I'll give the co-moderator a minute, to introduce himself.
Thank you very much, Professor Okon. I am Professor Kevin Ita. I'm a professor of pharmaceutics and drug delivery at Touro University, California, and the immediate past president of AKISAN San Francisco Community Chapter.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Prof, for joining us today. The debate today is between three contestants who are all embodiment of AKISAN future. As we heard earlier, they are Engineer Emmanuel Akpan from Philadelphia chapter, Engineer Isong Ekpenyong, Michigan chapter, Engineer Mbong Ekiko, the San Diego chapter. As we all know, debate are process of democracy. But this debate is significant, is a signifier, is signified and is symbolic for not only the future of AKISAN, rather for the next generation. As somebody once said, conscience is an open wound. So Professor Ita and I are committed to ensuring a fair, impartial, informative dialogue among all the candidates this evening. Gentlemen, let me just go over the rule, very quickly. Rule number one, each candidate has 3 minutes to introduce themselves and a summary of their manifesto. Number two, each candidate will take turn to answer the questions in 3 minutes, and we're going to keep the time. The order of answering the question will be rotated with different candidates, starting with each question, the same format that we used during the first debate. And again, this will be out of character to even mention this. We know that there's no personal attack on any of any nature, no personal attack on any candidate. Number six, each candidate must adhere to the time allowed, and he will get cut off by a timekeeper, Mr. Okeke, if you do go over your time. Each candidate will have time again to rebuttal if the name is mentioned. And also, we're going to actually, after we exhaust all the questions, we will have an opportunity for each of the candidates to ask each other a question. Okay. And last but not the least, if time permits, the moderators would have, one question or so. So guys, are we ready?
Yes.
Yes, I'm ready.
Wonderful. So I will start with the first question, of course, and the first question would go to Emmanuel, Engineer Emmanuel Akpan. And of course, the second question will come from Professor Ita, to the next candidate. So the first question to Engineer Emmanuel. Question is, for decades, people have been complaining of the president not in charge of the convention. As a president, what would you do to be in charge of the convention?
Point of information. Sorry. Isong, Ekpenyong, are we going to have a chance to introduce ourselves, or is that coming later?
Yeah, I had the same point of information. You said a few minutes to introduce themselves and your manifesto summary. So.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's do that. Sorry about that. Engineer Emmanuel Akpan, you will first introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you so much, the Electoral Committee. Thank you so much, AKISAN National. And thank you, gentlemen of the debates.
I might need to off one of your...
Iman, I think you are using two devices. Use only one to cut the echo.
Mute one of your devices.
Emmanuel, unmute yourself, Emmanuel. You're muted.
Mute one of your devices, just one of them.
Emmanuel, you're muted.
Yeah. Okay.
Emmanuel, you're muted. Can we unmute this?
Please, all participants, all candidates should be able to put their video on so that people can see you when you're speaking. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, the Electoral Committee. So much thank you, the AKISAN National, for putting up this debate. I thank everybody present and the debate team. My name is Parawa Engineer Emmanuel Benedict Akpan. I'm from Ekiko Fort in the local government area of Akwa, Ibom State. I'm here from Philadelphia chapter. Currently, I'm serving in the Board of Trustees. This is my second term in the Board of Trustees as the National Board of Trustees Assistant Secretary. And I've been a chapter president for 7 years. And I've been a chapter secretary of Philadelphia. And currently, I'm the vice president of a Akwa Association USA Incorporated and the treasurer of Mbong of Philadelphia chapter. And also, why I'm running for the position of the national president of Akwa Ibom State Association USA Incorporated, AKISAN, is because of the passion and commitment that I have for the growth of our community. And that growth and progress is what propels me to seek for this office. And I don't just want to come and answer the name the national president. This is a call to service because of the my antecedent on what I've done before in the chapter as a chapter president in a Akwa Association in Mbong, to name other list. I have this call that is deep inside of me to serve our community. I come here with a stronger, because with a stronger organization, we can achieve even more than what I've been able to achieve in the chapter and what I've been able to achieve in Akwa and what I've been able to achieve in Mbong. And also, when we want to talk about the stronger AKISAN, we will have a sustained financial growth in this organization. We will have the youth empowerment, the women involvement, the cultural preservation, and our cultural heritage will come back to take a center stage in our life because our culture is our identity here in this country. That is why we need a stronger organization that can bring funds, not only from the convention, but from all activities and getting funds from other sources to fund this organization. Then this organization will not go on a negative path, but we will always go on a positive budget every year in and year out, because I have what it takes to make this organization a stronger organization from the chapter level, the women wing, the youth wing, and the national. So I am contesting to become the national president because I'm the best for this job now, for the call of service now. I'm the best to do it, and I will do it. Thank you.
Please, all participants should mute your lines.
Please mute.
All defaulters will be removed. Please mute your line.
Thank you so much, Engineer Akpan. The next contestant to introduce himself will be Engineer Isong. Ekpenyong.
All right, thank you very much. Isong Ekpenyong here, Metro Detroit chapter. Over the past 6 months, I've been sharing my qualifications to be AKISAN's next president. And, you know, I've talked about, from an experience standpoint, having the most broad experience of the 3 candidates that are currently running today. And so when we talk about experience, I've been there leading at the local level, chapter secretary, chapter president, at the national level, national executive level as a national secretary, and on the board of trustees as a board of trustees member, board treasurer. And so also at the national level, I've been a participant and led numerous national level committees, convention planning, convention fundraising, convention registration, finance manual, volunteer corps. So I've done all that. And so from a vision standpoint, I've communicated my vision for AKISAN, which is based on a 7-point agenda anchored by youth integration, fundraising, and reinvesting in our culture. Those are the 3 foundational elements of my 7-point agenda. And so I've met some of you at home, some of you at churches, some of you at community centers, and others online. And what I notice and what resonates with me is one common theme, and that is passion. The desire that you all have to drive AKISAN to a higher level of performance. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Am I out of time?
No, you're not.
Oh, to a higher level of performance. And so that desire is something that I've caught on to. And so relative to that, I want to be your president because I have the passion and I have 7-point agenda that will drive us to that higher level of performance. And again, I want to thank all of you for your contributions and everything that you do at your local level to continue to sustain AKISAN at the various chapters and also at the national level.
Thank you, Engineer Isong Ekpenyong. And the last but not the least is Engineer Mbong Ekiko.
Yeah, quite with Isong. Isong,
Yeah.
Isong.
Yeah.
Know you. Thank you so much to the electoral committee for putting this together. Thank you to members of council present. A special thank you to general membership here today, as well as my host chapter San Diego, and more importantly, my campaign team for doing a great job. For those who don't know me, Engineer Dr. Mbong Ekiko, your top candidate in this year's election. I'm currently the chapter president for sunny San Diego, California. But before that, I served 2 terms as the Speaker of the Council of Chapter Presidents, where I partnered with a lot of our community to change and have a lot of reforms to change our association for the better. I'm the only candidate that has created 2 chapters. So I was doing things before my intent to run for president, created a chapter in Denver, created a chapter in San Diego, both chapters still thriving today. Pioneered a lot of fundraising events, including spearheading the San Diego Convention, as well as getting sponsorship, the highest sponsorship in the history of our association, $30,000, more than what our state government gave us. I am an innovative leader, collaborative innovative leader, introduced the first ever technology and innovation summit in San Diego. I'm also leading the effort planning our 2nd annual tech summit in Nashville, Tennessee. Even before this, I was helping that planning team do that as well. Some of you have seen the videos on the beauty pageant. I'm helping do that, produce videos and ads to support our association. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to transform our association. My campaign is oriented around, AKISAN has been around for 37 years, and it's time for us to disrupt ourselves, to improve, to grow, and transform our association. So that's why I come to you to ask for your support to drive AKISAN to the next level. My campaign is also oriented around DREAM. 5 strategic tenets that will help us really drive our association to that future. DREAM allows us to collaborate with all stakeholders, all members, to collaborate and drive association forward. It allows us to respect our Constitution, our Bible for AKISAN. It allows us to elevate AKISAN to the next level. And we'll talk about, during the course of this, a lot of those great creative ideas to help elevate our association to the next level. Youths and young professionals, we want to bring them in. We want to transition this organization and give it to them. They need to be part and parcel of that process to help us take over the association and drive it forward, the same way we did in the past. And then maintaining that equity, diversity, that inclusion, that bringing our women, a vibrant women wing into the process. I'm the only candidate that helped provide input to WEMBET that helps drive how our youth govern themselves. I'm the only candidate who really provided input to our women's wing, and now they have a nice structural organization for our women. Listen, gentlemen, I have a clear vision for AKISAN and what we're trying to do with this association. So vote Engineer Dr. Ekiko as your next leader. For those who are with me, thank you so much. For those who are still thinking about it, hopefully after this debate, you're going to move over to the dream team. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Looking forward to the discussion. Again, thank you to the panelists.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Engineer Dr. Ekiko. Thank you all the candidates. Now, let the show begin. Question number 1 goes to Engineer Emmanuel Akpan. The question is...
Doctor, please, can you hold on for a minute? Sure. We need to reset the time. Dr. Kevin, can you reset the time so that we get the time right? If it's 2 minutes, we reset the time, or let the timekeeper take over.
Okay, is the timekeeper there? Deborah, are you there?
Yeah, she's here. They didn't make her a co-host yet. Can you make her a co-host so that she can
let me
reset
check
the time? Either you turn it off and turn it back on to give 2 minutes or 3 minutes as time permit.
Okay.
So this is not yet a timer. This is just showing us the time currently.
This is the time, yes. This is
not. So can we have the timer and then
this is the timer.
Okay, good. So can Deborah be given control of that? Is it possible?
Deborah, are you there? Can you just identify yourself? How many minutes do we need here?
So this session that we are going into, I think, will be 2 minutes.
This session is 3 minutes.
Okay.
Is it 3 or 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
Okay, it's running. It's already running.
Okay.
Can you reset it so that the question will be asked and before we get the timer rolling?
I can do that again. So.
All right. So the timer should start once the question has been asked and the floor given to the candidates.
Okay. Prof, go ahead and ask the question.
All right.
I will just put it off.
Sorry about that, gentlemen. Let's again get started. The first question goes to Engineer Emmanuel Akpan, and the question is: for decades, many have been complaining of the president not being in charge of the convention. As a president, what would you do to be in charge of AKISAN convention?
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator.
Yeah.
First and foremost,
I didn't send any.
As your national president and the national president of this organization, I will be in charge of not only the national convention, but all the activities that this great organization is organizing. And I'm the sole aide, and I will be in charge of every activity of this organization, and every activity and concerns of the members of this organization will be a high priority for me. One, for the convention, we have a constitution that stipulates what we should do before the convention. I have the capacity, and I will make sure that I sensitize all the chapters and the chapter members about the convention. And I will make sure during the convention planning that we put every strategic things in place to make sure when the convention kickstart, that the national ESCO and the convention planning team will be in charge of running the activities and minute by minute, second by second activity in the convention. Therefore, as the national president, I will oversee every activity that is going on. I get the report, I make sure that all the concerns are addressed as and when due, and also make sure that whoever that is coming as our visitor will be our visitor. Whoever that is coming to be part of us will be part of us. You're not going to come and take over and run our show for us, because we have the show. You are coming here to be with us, then I will make sure before we even start the occasion, when you are here, I sit you down. We have one-on-one talk. We have a team talk and letting you know your rules, your boundaries when it comes to the running of the convention that you're coming, because you are our visitor, then you are going to play by our rule. And that our rule will be the Constitution and the and whatsoever the convention team has put in place, time-wise, activity-wise, for anything that is unbeatable, that we're going to beat every other convention that this association has ever held, because I know what it takes to take this organization to the next level. That is why I want you to vote me in as your president, because this is a call to service, and I will serve this organization with dedication, integrity, and also the cooperative, and also empowerment to all, because I know how to do it, and I'm going to do it again. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Observation, Mr. Moderator, observation. Please, if you are a candidate, it will help you to put your video on so that people can see you. People are asking that you put your video on, please. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that observation. And the same question goes to, who is this? Same question goes to Engineer Isong, Ekpenyong. And the question is, for decades, people have been complaining of the president not in charge of AKISAN convention. As the president, what would you do to be in charge, to take charge of AKISAN convention?
Well, thank you for that question and observation that was made by the individual that submitted that. You know, as I was thinking through this question, the one point that comes to mind in terms of not being in charge, I believe that sentiment comes from an overreach by Akwa Ibom state government, and where there has been a void in the fundraising. And then we have had some issues with starting convention, gala night events late relative to that. And so from my perspective, in terms of being in charge of the convention, when I become your president, I will have full control of that. The buck will stop with me. And again, from a convention experience standpoint, as I've articulated in my 7-point agenda, we need to make sure we can stand on our own 2 legs relative to fundraising on that gala night event. We need to fill those tables with individuals of Akwa Ibom that are here in the U.S. that are capable of raising funds for AKISAN. And then we would, of course, Akwa Ibom state government is a key stakeholder. We want them to be part of what we do. We need them. They're an important aspect of what we do. But in terms of taking control of our convention, taking control back, again, it starts with us being able to raise funds on our own, being able to start our events on time, and being able to articulate exactly what the value proposition is between us and Akwa Ibom state government. And so that is where it starts from a convention experience standpoint. Also, when I talk about the convention experience, I've mentioned that I want it to be more family orientated. I've talked about kids registering for free so that we can incorporate more young professionals that are having children, bring them back into the fold. These are the individuals that are going to come in and take over for us when we begin to retire. And so part of that convention experience is making sure it's more family orientated. I've also talked about raising funds on Friday, kind of switching to a family and culture night, where we emphasize family and culture on Friday night, and use that opportunity to raise money from those families that have come and use this as a family reunion to say if they want to donate $1,000, they can dance in on Friday night. 3 minutes, we can raise $1,000. And so if we have 10 families doing that, that's $10,000 that we've raised in 30 minutes on Friday, free money for AKISAN. And so the convention experience is important to me. I have children, I bring them to the convention, and I want to make sure that, we get it right. And in post-convention, we have surveys. I plan on setting up surveys and getting feedback loops set up so that we can act on some of those areas and gaps. We're never going to be able to execute a perfect convention. It's impossible. You're not going to satisfy everyone. But as long as we continue to work on tweaking and adjusting and trying to get it right, I believe we're on a path to being able to satisfy the majority of Akwa Ibom members. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Ekpenyong. The same question goes to Engineer Dr. Mbong Ekiko. And the question is, for decades, people have been complaining of the president not being in charge of AKISAN Convention. As the president, what would you do differently to be in charge or take charge of AKISAN Convention?
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Moderator, for that question. It is a great question. As I've said in the past, our convention is the most complex production in our association's history. AKISAN is a large organization, but the convention, that is the grand event that we host annually. And I have the distinct advantage of serving in 5 convention planning committees, and even the distinct honor to be the convention chair of last year's convention in sunny San Diego. I had the opportunity to lead a great, great team of individuals serving as the planning committee for the beauty pageant, the committee for the Women's Summit, the committee for the Business Summit, even the one I brought in, New Technology Innovation Summit, all the sporting events, the fundraising, the BOT Ibom Pride Award. There's a lot of things that come together in that production. So I had the advantage of being in front of that. And I will say, in that role, some of the things that came off are implementation. To take charge of the convention as the next national president, we do a great job planning, but I want to make sure that we implement and execute on the planning that we do. That's the first one important. I agree on the question around our state government. In my leadership, I think it's communication. I will engage and collaborate with the state government so they understand their expectation. One of the tenets of my tenant dream is developing partnerships with all stakeholders. This includes the state government, but like I've said before, it's a collaboration of equals and a collaboration that drives value to AKISAN. We just need to communicate and explain that to the state government, and they'll come in and enjoy the event as everybody else. But the third one is the powerful one. I call it flip the pyramid. Like we've changed the election process that we got to engage all the community. I want us to flip the pyramid. We need to focus on the floor, on the convention floor. So in my administration, I'll take charge and give the convention back to the floor. Our general membership, they need to come there. They need to enjoy the convention. It is a place that we come out once a year. So we'll take the focus to our members. So you got to be able to do that. I have written a convention report, lessons learned report. I have issued surveys, and I've done all these things to help us. So implementation is one way that I'm going to help take charge. We do a great job planning, collaborating, partnering with the state government so they understand their expectation and their role in our convention. But more importantly, I want to flip the pyramid and turn our convention back to our community so they can enjoy the event and make sure we have a very great convention year in, year out. I also agree with the other individual. The convention is one aspect of the national presidency. I'll be your CEO of all AKISAN and make sure that we take care of our great association. Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ekiko, for answering that question. And thank you guys for the first round of questions. The second round of questions will come from Professor Ita.
Thank you very much, Professor Okun. So the second question will be answered first by Engineer Isong Ekpenyong, and the question is, some past administrations are still owing AKISAN huge amounts of money. Tell us exactly how you will retrieve these monies back to the organization. Engineer Ekpenyong.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that question. It's an interesting question. I have been, unfortunately, a member of committees that have been set up and established to talk through some financial issues that have been associated with some past presidents. It's not something that I'm proud of, but I can say that the past 3 committees that I've been a member of, we've worked through some very challenging issues that we have. And so to the question of how would I go about being able to bring those funds back, to me, it depends on where we are within the process of retrieving those funds. And so what I mean by that is, has it gone to litigation? Has it not gone to litigation? If it hasn't gone to litigation yet, then the Constitution will provide guidance for conflict resolution, the path forward. And so, my plan would be to use that Constitution as a Bible to guide us in terms of what steps need to be taken, who needs to talk to who relative to being able to resolve any issues that we have. And if that doesn't work, then and it escalates to the next level, which we want to avoid with all costs, litigation, then I will turn it over to legal counsel. It's a legal matter, and so legal counsel will be in position to consult and also advise in terms of what steps need to be taken to retrieve those funds. Additionally, beyond legal counsel, we may also seek the advice of external debt collecting entities that are out there, that have dealt with nonprofit organizations and debt retrieval from entities that have been tied to nonprofit. So I believe that there may be some lessons learned from those entities. They can come in, we can consult with them to advise us on exactly how we would want to go about, we might want to go about getting those funds back into association coffers. But again, for me, it starts with understanding where we are with that debt collection process, reviewing the Constitution, abiding by the Constitution. And again, if it's in litigation, handing it off to our legal counsel to advise, and then seeking external help if necessary. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The same question goes to Engineer Mbong Ekiko. Some past administrations are still owing AKISAN huge amounts of money. Tell us how you will retrieve these monies back to the organization.
All right, thank you, moderator, for that question. Again, appreciate it. On the issue of past administration and owing AKISAN funds, one thing I will note that the Board of Trustees, or BOT, esteemed BOT, are the fiscal custodian of AKISAN financials. I talk about developing partnership with all AKISAN stakeholders. This is definitely an area that I want to partner with our Board of Trustees, every single one of them. I also want to agree with the candidate just spoke on the legal counsel. We definitely want to bring our legal counsel into that process because of the, the sensitivity there, depending on where it is in the process. But I also want to partner with our Council of Chapter Presidents, the policy-making body of our association. So I think within this group, we will look into where are things in the process of really retrieving the funds back to the association. And if it's in the legal realm, that's another area I've talked about. I want to strengthen our legal defense system, and so we can go after and prosecute anybody that has made away with AKISAN funding. Our Constitution is also very clear on how we handle, disciplinary action, including impact to chapters that produce administrators that come in and make away with our money. So all those things will be done in terms of really trying to go after folks who have made away with our money. Another thing I'll do coming in, we'll set up a committee to really look at it. As the national president now, the buck stopped with me. So I'll set up a committee to look at the entire process, who owes us money, what we need to bring back. One thing I will share with you, one of the things I have actually done is I helped AKISAN recover $15,000 from the Emergency Trust Fund. That's one that the past administration had that money. When I was unanimously voted for as the ETF chair, my biggest focus was to go recover that money. And I even invested my own funds to fly out, negotiated, and talked, and was able to recover that money for the association. But I think more importantly is the infrastructure. We need to put the infrastructure that eliminates individuals that come in and make away with our money. I, for one, I have sent in my background, my investigation, all to the electoral committee. We need leaders with integrity that lead our association. That's why I'm running for this office, so that we can make sure that people come in and protect our association and have the interest of our association in place. So we're not talking about recovering funds. We're talking about how do we drive our association to the next level? How do we ensure that our great association survives the next 37 years? And more importantly, how do we protect our rich cultural heritage? So you'll see a lot of things put in place, things like auditing, making sure we can audit our books, and reporting, financial reporting, so that real time we could know what's happening with our finances. So thank you for that question. We'll go after them, and we'll put in the infrastructure to prevent it in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The same question goes to Engineer Emmanuel Akpan. Some past administrations are still owing AKISAN huge amounts of money. Tell us how you will retrieve these monies back to AKISAN. Engineer Akpan.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. I'm a son of the roots. As your servant leader, I want to strengthen the bond and unity of this organization first. When we strengthen the bond and unity of this organization, and we restore the love and commitment of this organization to everything become a stronger action. Going to those people and bringing back old people that were here that are not here, people that were mad with one issue or the other, that were not happy with what is happening on one thing or the other, and they go out. We will be able to bring them in back. And even the people that were owing this association will be so happy with the association to come back and say, hey, I owed so much amount. I will not be able to pay you all at once. I will do it step by step. However, this association, under my watch as your servant leader, I will be able to go to individuals and talk to them first and make that negotiation and make that peace move first for you to reconcile with the community, because this is our community. This is our identity. This is our culture. This is who we are. Since this is who we are, we don't need to hurt ourselves. After that step, then we will see the reaction of whoever that is owing the organization. Then we will move now to the next step, because already I am working with all the arms of AKISAN, be it the ESCO, be it the Board of Trustees, the Council of Chapter President, the Women Wing, and the Youth Wing. And we will have individuals from all those different arms to be in the crisis, conflict resolution, and call it whatever committee that will be able to talk to individuals about it. After breaking into that, if that still doesn't work, then we will now get into our constitution. All this that we're doing, we're still working with our constitution, because when you're working with the constitution, which is a Bible, you cannot make a mistake. We will now get to the Board of Trustees. We sit down with the legal counsel and we sit down with everybody concerned and say, let us look for a way forward, because we are a great organization in this country and a great community, and we are interwoven by our culture, that we cannot harm each other or we cannot do something bad to each other. Thereby, on this particular issue, let us find a way. Let us find a way out that all of us will agree, and the money for the association will come back to the association. This is a call to service, and the priority and the concern and whatsoever bothers any member of this organization will be my top priority, and I will make sure that I give it the time that it needs to take care of it. Thank you.
Mr. Moderator, please, before the next question, this is the chairman of the electoral committee. Can you change the time to 2 minutes instead of 3 minutes, please? Thank you.
Okay, that's fine.
Very good. All right. Okay, the time has been changed. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Information, just for my clarity, we're reducing the response time to 2 minutes?
That's correct.
Moving forward. Okay, thank you, moderator.
Yes, moving forward, 32 minutes. Are we all clear?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All right, let's move on to the next, the third question. And the third question will go to Engineer Dr. Mbong Ekiko. The question is, AKISAN has suffered financial instability in decades. Mention specific strategies that you use to generate and maintain funds in AKISAN. Specific strategies that you use to generate and maintain. Be very specific. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I really like that question. As a nonprofit organization, the biggest challenge for us is raising funds so we can execute our projects and so we can execute the organization. I'm the only one that responded. There was a call for fundraising strategy. I'm the only candidate that posted that out there for those who haven't seen it. But I have a comprehensive fundraising strategy. It begins with all year round fundraising. How do we move from raising funds at the convention to raising funds all year round to drive our association. I'm going to bring in a strategic and fundraising sponsorship committee that's laser focused and dedicated on fundraising. I talked about sponsorship. I had a great success raising $30,000 in San Diego on sponsorship. I want to turbocharge that and drive sponsorship with organizations, with businesses, with companies to help us drive fundraising. Crowdsourcing is a new one. That is leveraging the power of the internet and technology to drive us forward. There are some great fundraising activities right now today in the association. I want to keep those. Things like dancing, registration, I want to keep those. I want to drive company match. How do we get companies to match donations so we can register with companies as well? Another creative, game-changing one is AKISAN Global. I proposed that idea. I work with Council and the CCP and the escrow to make that a reality. But we expand globally. It drives more membership and it drives more revenue. The other one that I didn't talk about, it's new. It came up as part of just a research, is with the decline in government funding to us, I want to pivot. Let's partner with the US federal government. There is grants out there. They have grants to support nonprofit immigrant businesses and organizations. So I want to partner with that. So I have a comprehensive fundraising strategy. I can't wait to get it implemented on day one on the job. Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you so much, Engineer Ekiko, for that answer. And the same question number 3, would go to, I believe, Engineer Emmanuel Akpan. And the question is, AKISAN has suffered financial instability in decades. Tell us specific strategies that you use, if elected, not only to generate funds, but to maintain AKISAN funds.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. In my acronym, the first thing is sustained financial growth. Why do I say sustained financial growth? Because as your servant leader, I have what it takes to raise money for this organization and even more. Number one, during my tour of different chapters during this campaign, I've met a lot of people, good grant writers, that told me, that said, Emmanuel, when you become the next national president, I will help you and write grants for this association and make sure you get money to run this association. I've met some people, even while we were at the Akwa convention, some gentlemen came to the association and said, Akwa Association, because of what you guys have done, and Emmanuel is part of that team, we will come and build Akwa International Community Center that will be a science innovation park for you people. How? Because we collaborate with them, we talk with them. I was part of those that negotiated for that. That project alone worth $5 million. That is part of the money that is going to go to Akwa. If I can do that for an organization like Akwa, how much more when I become the national president of Akwa Ibom State Association of Nigeria? I will make sure that the levies, that we have our dues from the chapters that we're supposed to. I will make sure that everything, every money, every source of fund that's supposed to come to the association comes to the association. We are not going to fight with anybody to do that, because people will see the love of the association and they will donate to the association. And the grants, the collaboration for donation, and people giving to the association, our force will always be positive. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Akpan. And the same question goes to Engineer Isong Ekpenyong. And the question is, AKISAN has suffered financial instability for decades. Mention specific strategies that you will use if elected, not only to generate funds, but to maintain funds in AKISAN.
Well, thank you for that question. Financial management has definitely been in the news lately. In fact, I wrote an essay in response to Hueyted's question and sent that directly to him. I'm yet to share it with the general public. But in that essay, it talks about the 2 key principles of financial management. The first principle is revenue generation. And from a revenue generation standpoint, how do we bring funds in? And then also the second piece of it is revenue management, which is financial stewardship. Once those funds make its way into the organization, how do you manage those funds? And so let's go back to revenue generation. You know, I've got a comprehensive fundraising strategy that I've released. It's been out there, it's all over. And really it starts with the basics, growing our base, our donor base. And how do we grow our donor base? We do that by having a president that's executing with transparency, accountability, and with open communication. We also have a president that's prioritizing, making sure we conduct internal audits, external audits, and all what that does is it allows people to have confidence in this organization. And so we can't move forward until we go back and correct the structural issues that we have from a financial standpoint that's preventing us from moving forward seamlessly. And so that's where it starts with me. And so, again, I've talked extensively about those specific fundraising strategies that I have, where we go after individuals and businesses for tiered installment payments with perks. Also, the dance-in that's going to take place, we'll continue the Saturday dance-in, and then we move into Friday dance-in. And so once we bring those funds in, the next part of it is how do we manage those funds, financial stewardship. And that's a shared responsibility with members of council. Again, council approves, the board of trustees disburses, and the national president executes. I plan on using the financial manual as my Bible. Every member of the national organization will understand what those principles are. And that's how I plan on managing finances within this organization. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Ekpenyong, for answering that question. I think the next round of question would come from Professor Ita.
Thank you very much, Professor Kun. This question will be taken up first by Engineer Emmanuel Akpan. And the question is, what structural changes will you implement to help foster transparency in accountability in AKISAN for its members?
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. The structural changes that we need in AKISAN is us building that trust again in the life of the people of the community. We have been hurt a lot of times concerning the finances of the association. And now our constitution and the financial manual are stated on how we should work, on how we should act, on how we should execute, and how we should do a day-to-day operations of the finances of this great association. So the first thing that I will do is I will follow the constitution and the financial manual of this association step by step, and because when you do that, you cannot make a mistake, because it is a painstaking time that people put in to put that material together. The problem that we're having now is because we've not applied what is on those documents that guides this association. So the first thing will be to make sure we follow that. And if we follow that, that doesn't help in this situation, which I know as your servant leader that it will help. But if there's anything like a board, then I will gather our financial experts, people that are from Akwa Ibom that are financial experts in this country, in different fields. I will gather them together and say, this is time for the service of our community. Let us put down together something that will make sure that this association is stronger than what it is financially, that we can sustain and grow financially than what it is. And I believe and trust you, trust me, and trust every one of us that will work, and this association will be stronger than what it is today. That is why I say vote for me, for the stronger association, for stronger organization, and for organization that all of us will be proud of, and we will be proud to answer Akwa Ibomites. Thank you.
Okay, the same question goes to Engineer Isong Ekpenyong, and the question is, what structural changes will you implement to foster transparency and accountability in AKISAN for its members? Engineer Isong Ekpenyong.
Well, thank you for that question. And again, it really takes me back to my last comments relative to going back to the basics and growing our donor base. And those comments apply here as well. And so from my standpoint, my experience has been very well articulated, being a board treasurer. So what I would do structurally is make sure that the finance manual is front and center, right? We have a committee that's set up to, and I'm the chairman of that committee, by the way, to revamp the finance manual, complete that revamping, that update, and then we need to push that finance manual out as widely as possible. We have individuals within this organization that probably haven't read the finance manual or sniffed of it. And so that's key, is understanding the processes are in place. The question now is, can we follow with discipline those processes? And as your national president, I plan to bring that finance manual, put it right next to the Constitution. People quote the Constitution. We're going to be quoting the finance manual as well. That is key to transparency. Also, I've talked extensively about internal audits and external audits. That's all captured in the finance manual. Also, we talk about QuickBooks, which thanks to some great individuals within this organization, they were able to bring that in, make us aware of the advantage of leveraging QuickBooks, and then we're able to do that and send out weekly, monthly financial reports to anyone we want, members of council, even random individuals within members of the association, just to show that we're executing with transparency. So those are all things that I've captured in terms of my first 100 days, what I intend to do to begin to foster that transparency, the accountability, and begin to grow our donor base, so that we can go after those donors to help support us with funds to execute our objectives. And so that is what I would do. Thank you.
Okay, the same question goes to Engineer Mbong Ekiko, and that is, what structural changes will you implement to foster transparency and accountability in AKISAN for its members?
Yeah, thank you for the question. And this one is a question that's close to my heart, because it's not about what I'm going to do, it's what I have already done. As the Speaker of the Council of Chapter Presidents, I had a front row seat in putting together and supporting the transformation of AKISAN's organizational structure. It allows us to have that solid foundation that we could thrive from there. So I'm the only candidate that has voted in the Policy and Constitution Committee, in the Council of Chapter Presidents, voted in council, and ultimately ratified transformational structural changes at the convention. So things like now you have standing committees, Budget and Finance Committee, Electoral Committee. You're seeing some of the changes to the electoral process. The Constitution and Policy Committee, I was part of that team. Talent, now you can select talent from other chapters to serve in a secretariat. So when Ekiko wins, I'll be able to pick talent to serve on my cabinet. That's a transformational structural change. Also, now we have a financial secretary. We have a financial secretary. The honorable man from Detroit talked about QuickBooks. I was part of the team that funded the pilot QuickBooks, a financial management system that integrates all our finances. We tested it, we piloted it, and then we handed it over to AKISAN. We'll continue to do those things. I am part of that financial manual upgrade team, because we need to put that infrastructure to help us to continue to thrive. Also, I'm talking about putting a new infrastructure on expanding us globally. Expanding globally allows us to drive up new members, drive up new revenues, okay? Also, I'm gonna be having town hall meetings, roundtable discussions with the general membership. In the surveys that I have done as part of this campaign, some great feedback has coming from the membership community. So I wanna reach out to our youth and young professional community. I wanna reach out to a women's community and the general membership, even our international community, to provide input on how we continue to transform our association. But it's stuff that I've already done and will continue to do. Thank you so much.
Okay, Professor Kun.
Thank you so much, Professor Ita. And gentlemen, thank you for your participation and answering questions passionately, which is what the debate is all about. We're going to move to the next question. The next question actually would go to Engineer Isong Ekpenyong, if I'm not mistaken. And the question is, AKISAN is not a one-person effort. It takes a village to run it well. Tell us, if you win, what and how will you engage other person who just lost to join you in building a better AKISAN of the future?
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's actually a question that was asked at one of the chapters that we presented in. So it's a good question. How do we bring our opponents in? Of course, it takes a village to build this organization. So what I would do as the incoming national president is, relative to the two opponents that I have, when I look at their strengths, I could say that Dr. Ekiko's strength is disrupt and transform technology. And I think that's needed in certain quarters of our organization. When I look at Engineer Emmanuel Akpan, his strength is building unity, growing, right? And that's important, because when we talk about, how do we go back and reestablish our base of supporters, our donor base, we need that unity. We need to build that stronger AKISAN. And so those are the strengths that my two opponents have. And it is my intent to reach out to them to be able to leverage some of their ideas relative to those strengths. And now we know that both of those fine gentlemen are currently members of the National Council. And so if I am fortunate enough to be your next president, they will still be actively leading within AKISAN. And so it is my intent to continue to work with them to build a stronger AKISAN, to find those nooks and crannies that we can disrupt and transform. And so, the way I would do that is, again, by reaching out to them, expressing how important their message was as we went through the campaign. Of course, they had strong supporters that message resonated with. And so making sure that we can, collaboratively work together to build a stronger AKISAN, because again, AKISAN is bigger than us individuals, us candidates. It's for everyone. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer, for answering the question. And the same question will go to Engineer Dr. Mbong Ekiko.
Thank you, moderator, for that question. It is, again, fascinating question. You have three great individuals vying for AKISAN's highest office. Even me, I would say, my opponents, I have leveraged and used them in other avenues. I, brought in Engineer Emmanuel Akpan to be the MC at a convention that I was to chair in San Diego. He brings a lot of capability in that space, so we brought him in. Isong Ekpenyong, I had some organizational things that we had to work with, and I brought him in for that as well. And so there are elements in both camps. Isong's financial acumen, and I'd say Emmanuel Akpan being able to mobilize the community. So I brought him in, so it's stuff that I've already done. But the other thing I want to share, so the electoral process that you're enjoying today, I was part of that Policy and Constitution Committee. We want to be able to bring out the best of the best to compete for AKISAN's highest office. But what I'll tell you, when I win this election, on day one, I will give Emmanuel Akpan a call, and I'll give Isong Ekpenyong a call to say, how do we bring your ideas into the fold? Remember, one of my strategic tenets is developing deep partnerships with all AKISAN stakeholders. It also means I want to be a national president for every single AKISAN member, Akwa Ibom community. And that includes my esteemed opponents. So yes, I will bring them in. We'll bring their capabilities, their ideas into the fold. So like I said, expect that call. After swearing in on day one, I will call them to come in and help. But what I will say, in this race, I am the best candidate in this race based on experience, extensive leadership experience. I never left. I've been around the entire time. I have the scar tissues that help navigate AKISAN through COVID, through inflationary period, even through litigation. So I have the in-depth experience and the best candidate in this race, but I will bring my two friends into the fold on winning. Thank you very much for that question.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's the spirit. And the same question will go to Engineer Emmanuel Akpan. AKISAN is not a one-person effort. It takes a village to run it well. Tell us, if you win, what and how will you engage the other person who just lost to join you in building a better AKISAN of the future?
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. Iko kangene bukan beri yang agak sesuai buang agak kanya dan yang after ini tu kuai bomiri iri banga baga to reform a great community. Thank you so much. That question is very important. I also echo what my colleague has just said. Two of them are fine gentlemen, and we've been doing things together to make sure this organization works. But on the day one, because of this present constitution review, he has given us a heads up that if you win before the convention, that you will know you are a winner. And when you get there, you get prepared. On day one, I will bring a team of combined more than 50 years experience of running different organizations to stand with them by my side. I will bring my colleagues from other places. I will bring this by fine two gentlemen also along the line, and we will steer this organization forward right from day one. Therefore, we will hit the ground and make sure that this organization moves forward as a servant leader, as a leader of the people, as somebody that can engage the community. I will make sure we grow stronger from chapter level. Women win, youth win. You will see them being represented in my ESCO. And that ESCO, your concern, whatsoever you've been thinking of that this association should become, we will bring it to the table and we will discuss it and execute it. And this organization will be an organization that all of us will be proud of. Not only me, but every member will be so proud of. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Engineer Akpan, for answering the question. Question number 6 will go back to the co-moderator, Professor Ita.
Thank you very much, Professor Okun. So this question will go to Engineer Ekiko first. And the question is, we have witnessed how expensive the campaigns have been, and keeping in mind that the office of AKISAN USA National President is voluntary and unpaid, what motivated you to run for this office, Engineer Ekiko?
Thank you so much, moderator, for that question. Another real great question. AKISAN, that is our organization. It's our organization. Like I said, it's been around for 37 years. I've been supporting AKISAN for the past 15 in leadership roles. I'm asking for one more opportunity to support AKISAN at the highest level. So what's my motivation? What's my why? There's four reasons. The first one, I call it giving back to a community. Like many of the next generation, I was born in New York. But one thing to be able to connect to our rich culture is our AKISAN Association. So I want to give back. I give back to other organizations. I support other nonprofit, San Diego Science Festival, American Cancer Society, Heart to Relay for Life, different organizations, National Society of Black Engineers. How much more our own? AKISAN is our own. So I want to run. It's the passion to support our association. I've been doing it, like I said, even before this, I was supporting Nashville, sending in some information on videos and things to help them prepare for that, providing feedback. So it's providing that support. Number 2, rich cultural heritage. I've talked about that. We want to make sure that we continue to drive our culture. Our culture, we have 4 generations in AKISAN today, from the youths all the way to our elderly. So we want to make sure we protect that culture and embrace all that organization. The next one I talk about is transformation. We have been around for 37 years. I want us to partner to transform AKISAN so it's around for the next 37 years. And then we bring in our youth and young professionals. They're part of the process so we could hand this thing over the same way it was handed over to us. I've been around for 15 years supporting it, 20 if you talk about when I started going to convention. Now we want to pick that up and pass it over to the next generation so our culture, our organization can thrive and be the envy of non-profit organizations globally. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Ekiko. The next person to answer that question will be Engineer Emmanuel Akpan. And the question once again is, we have witnessed how expensive the campaigns have been, and keeping in mind that the office of AKISAN USA National President is voluntary and unpaid, what motivated you to run for this office, Engineer Akpan?
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. Iko kan ngene bu kan kwa ma be ko wonde ga yere. Ana frenyen imirio aku mo mam ko. Ko wo ma mam ko amambre ado ko fanana.
Please speak English.
Hey, I came in as a Ibom indigenous. Ngedi indigenous Ibom. Ngedi indigenous Ibom. Then the Samnikat community. I'm a son of the soil. I love my roots. I love my heritage. When I came in, I joined this organization. I see what is going on. I was looking for a way to make sure that I contribute my quota. And I've been contributing my quota from the chapter level and in the national level and other organizations. And when I look at what I can do, I said, I'm going to go in and be on the aim of this great association so that I can bring in this change, this unity, this stronger association, this integrity that we need in this circle, that we can restore back in the life of the people to love this organization back. And I know that I have that thing as a servant leader in me that I can transfer to people. I said, let me go and run. That is why I'm running as the best candidate this time, as your servant leader this time, that I can lead this organization at this point in time in our life. So our culture, I will be the person that brings in cultural festival back to this great organization, which will be outside of the convention. I will be the person that will make sure I transform this organization. Even our children that were born here, even like somebody that say, oh, speak English. A lot of our children don't even know that our dialect is what unites us, that your dialect unites you more than any other thing in this life. They don't understand our language. Why? Because we've thrown it somewhere at a distance. But I will bring in unity and our dialect back to our association so that we understand it all. Thank you so much.
Same question goes to Engineer Isong Ekpenyong. We have witnessed how expensive the campaigns have been, and keeping in mind that the office of AKISAN USA National President is voluntary and unpaid, what motivated you to run for this office, Engineer Ekpenyong?
Well, thank you for that question. I simply have to go back to September when I released my first campaign material that kind of spoke to that, where the motivation came for me to run for national president. And it was based on me attending the very first convention that I attended in 2001 in San Francisco. I still remember it vividly. Again, in that convention, just to summarize, it was an out-of-body experience to see what transpired in that convention relative to the cultural experience, the connection with people that look like you, that speak like you, that ate the same food that you ate. It amazed me. And in fact, to the point that I stayed until 4 a.m. Back then, the conventions would end at 4 a.m. in the morning. My first convention, I stayed till 4 a.m. in the morning. And so it's what you say, love at first sight. From that point forward, I became active, extremely active at the local level, national level, in multiple fronts. And so when I think about motivation, it goes back to that first convention and how can I sustain this? What part can I play? And the sacrifices that these leaders were making, staying up into the wee hours of the morning to keep this thing going so that others can enjoy it. It's something that impressed me. And so, again, it brings great joy to me and it's something that I want to support moving forward. Now, there's another story that I'll tell you. Fast forward 2009, National Convention in Michigan. I had a Yoruba friend that I invited to that convention. It was one of the best conventions executed ever. And so he saw that in the production and said, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe you people have this. This is a gold mine. And those were his words to me, that our convention is a gold mine, that it's impressive. He enjoyed it. There was so much to do, so much to see. And so that brought great pride to me. And it still continued to motivate me to continue to fight for this organization and to run for the national presidency.
Thank you very much, Professor Okon. Over to you.
All right. Thank you, Professor Ja. The seventh question, I believe that will start with
Engineer Emmanuel Akpan will take that.
Emmanuel Akpan, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, this is a legacy question. Okay, and it's very simple. The question is, what AKISAN USA legacy do you want to remember it for after your tenure if you win? Okay, we're understanding that AKISAN is, we're trying to build something in perpetuity. What do you want to be known for after your tenure if you win, Engineer Akpan?
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. Not if I win, when I win, because I'm winning this as your servant leader. I will be remembered. I will put my name on the sign of time that after my office, I will not leave this association on a sinking sand, but on a solid rock. One, we have a capital projects account, and nobody has ever since talked about making sure that we have a secretariat in Washington, D.C. When I get into that office, I will bring out that part of the Constitution that said they had a committee that says Building Project Committee. That Building Project Committee, I will set aside and make sure that we start a project for this organization. And that project for this organization will be the capital project. And that will be our secretariat in the Washington, D.C. area that we are registered. Because we have the capability of collaborating with different entities, government entities and corporations that can help us to make sure that we have something that our name is written on gold in this country. Yes. The government can even help us. The institution can help us, but it depends on who leads. When you put me in there, I will make sure that I lead this organization and lead this organization with a sound financial strength, with a sound financial community, with a sound united community, with a sound community and all-inclusive organization, and with a sound noticeable project on ground that everybody will say, oh, thank you so much.
Wonderful. The same question will go to Engineer Isong Ekpenyong. Again, it's a question of legacy. Question of legacy concerning the fact that we are trying to build something in perpetuity. Okay. So what AKISAN USA legacy do you want to remember it for after your tenure, if and indeed you win?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And I have to go back to my 7-point agenda. And again, it's very comprehensive. And as I mentioned earlier in my opening, it's built on 3 primary elements. And those primary elements are the key to sustainability. If we don't execute those 3 properly, we're going to lose AKISAN. And those 3 elements, in the order of importance, is youth integration. We need to make sure that our legacy, speaking of legacy, it does not exist without us having the ability to integrate our youth, bring them in, appoint them into EXCO, put them into national level committees so that they can begin to infuse this organization with their ideas and also begin to take ownership for the direction that this organization is heading in. So that's really primary, and that's a legacy that I'll be proud of. The second of my three key pillars is fundraising. Without fundraising, we will die off. And so with fundraising, I've talked about going back to our basics and growing our donor base. That's important. We've disenfranchised so many people over the years. And these are Akwa Ibomites that have the capacity to help us execute some of these, endeavors that we have. And so we need to go. I want to be known for the individual that went back and brought those individuals in, so many disenfranchised Akwa Ibomites, and brought them back into the fold to support and to help this organization move forward. And thirdly, and equally important, is culture. Again, as I mentioned in the last convention, we had one cultural display coming in from the LA chapter. We did have an ensemble, but that's not the same as having chapters come in. And so we need to go back and reinvest in our culture. It's our core strength, is why we're here today. I want to be known as a president that, again, brought back culture and made our convention experience enjoyable and fun once again. And then finally, the family experience. I talked about, yeah, I'm out of time, so.
You're out of time. Wonderful. I think the essence of your essence is captured. The question goes to Engineer Mbong, Ekiko, the same question. what AKISAN USA legacy do you want to be remembered for after your tenure, even indeed you win?
Thank you so much, moderator. And to the base out there, let's deliver the dream. Let's deliver the dream. Ekiko will be known as one of the greatest AKISAN leaders, a great visionary that had a clear vision for a future. He completely transformed our association to a true 21st century organization that protected our rich cultural heritage. To paint a picture of some of that future, today, fundraising at the convention. In the future, fundraising all year round. Today, we're AKISAN domestic, US. When I leave, AKISAN Global Inc. Today, managing finances in spreadsheets and computers. When I leave, optimized QuickBook financial management system for all our association. Today, medical mission scholarships. When I leave, a technology and innovation park with a healthcare annex in Akwa Ibom State connected to the global, to US globally. Legal defense, he strengthened our legal defense system so we can never, ever fail through frivolous litigation. Joint ventures with hotels. He established joint ventures so we can drive down the cost of hotel lodging for our conventions. Optimizing our cultural experience so that the next generation will really appreciate Ekiko, that he helped strengthen our cultural heritage. I reflect on my daughter, who at the convention in San Diego came out. Akwa Isong, even know you, and cited that her biggest memory was engaging our community. AKISAN membership database, Ekiko introduced a global membership database that we could automate payments. We could log in and look at reports real time. The same way you do in your jobs today in your banks. A membership database that fully integrates our system into QuickBooks. And then we digitize the system and transform AKISAN. So that is what I'll be remembered for. Thank you. Awesome question.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I'm going to move to the next question by the co-moderator, Professor Ita.
Okay, thank you very much. So the next question will go to Engineer Isong Ekpenyong, and the question is, part of the dream of the AKISAN of the future is consistent growth in policy implementation and project development from one administration to the next. With the above statement in mind, which 3 projects of the present administration would you adopt? How would you improve them to add greater value to the organization? On the contrary, which projects or programs do you not like and why? How will you do it and what would you do differently? Engineer Isong Ekpenyong.
All right, thank you for that question. So let me quickly touch on the 3 projects. So of course, there's a skills acquisition that individuals here in the U.S. sponsor folks in Akwa Ibom to learn a skill, a trade, and then they are then given the tools and equipment for them to go and execute that trade. I love that. That's something that I will continue. What I would do, though, differently is that I would look for opportunities for synergy where, for example, we recently had, I believe, Miami chapter and then also I believe it was also Tennessee chapter donate some desks to schools. Well, if we were to train individuals on the skill of desk making and woodworking, have those individuals then produce desk and chairs for schools. And so then we're getting 2 for the price of 1, where we've trained an individual and then we've also contracted them to support us in providing these things, these desks, these items to other areas of need. So that's one of the things I would do differently. The other thing that I would do differently is I would actually keep data, tracking data to understand exactly how successful we are relative to the various skills that are being acquired, and then understand from that data, what needs to be tweaked, what needs to be adjusted, which ones are working, which ones are not working. So I think the national president has done a fantastic job, and that's what I would do. The other is medical mission. Medical mission is one that I will continue. I've seen someone die in the field in Akwa Ibom because they couldn't make it to our medical mission tent in time. to be seen. And so it changes lives. It's something that needs to continue. Again, we could make some adjustments. We can make some tweaks along the way to be more efficient in how we deliver it. And that's one of the things that I would do differently, is partner with other organizations here within the U.S. And see how we can be more efficient in delivering those medical missions. And then the third one is scholarship. We do that all day. And so that's something that I would continue as well.
Thank you very much, Engineer Mbong Ekiko. For part of the dream of AKISAN of the future is consistent growth in policy implementation and project development from one administration to the next. With the above in mind, which 3 projects of the present administration would you adopt? How would you improve them to add greater value to the organization? On the contrary, which projects and programs do you not like and why? How will you do it differently? Engineer Ekiko.
Thank you so much for that question. And I even commend who submitted that question. Tagline Dream 2024. I commend the current administration for the great job they've done as they prepare to transition. Honorable Akpan and his executive team. As part of the Speaker of the Council of Chapter Presidents, I had the opportunity to collaborate and work with that executive leadership team. So I had a front row seat to see their initiatives. I agree with the gentleman out of Detroit on the scholarship program. What changed with the scholarship program was the scholarship award ceremony. That is real time, showing you recordings of how the scholarship is being awarded. So I'll continue to do that. The ICT vocational training with the Innovation Hub, I thought was good. And the way the funds was raised for that, cosmetology, agriculture, and all those projects, we'll continue to do that. The way I want to up the game, so E in my strategy is elevating success. I talk about the certificates. We want to make sure that our individuals, both in the US and in Nigeria, could certify, in industry certificate that can help them really compete in the global market space. So that's a big one that I want to do. The other one I know it's been talked about that I will improve with the current administration is the auditing process. We changed the Constitution to have an auditing team to be able to continue to raise funds. I've challenged the AKISAN that we could raise up to $1 million, but we got to be able to audit our books and show those audit reports so that we can have more people come in and want to support us. And then one area that we haven't really looked at that we'll also try to disrupt and really improve on is the board of trustees environment, looking at is there an opportunity for a board of directors, and look at how do we modernize that infrastructure to help us as well. So overall, I said, they've done a great job, but I've shared some of the things I want to add, including the Ibom Technology Park and Innovation Center with a healthcare annex, some of the additions to that plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Akpan. Part of the dream of the AKISAN of the future is consistent growth in policy implementation and project development from one administration to the next. With the above in mind, which 3 projects of the present administration would you adopt? How will you improve them to add greater value to the organization? On the contrary, which projects and programs do you not like and why? What would you do differently? Engineer Akpan.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. First of all, I said for the dream of AKISAN not to become a nightmare in the bright new day. Let us all unite together, work as a strong family, as a strong organization, and make all the chapters stronger, all the wings stronger. We will be able to achieve even more than what is going on now. First, the medical mission that has been going on, we should also add values to it so that even the people in the riverine area of the state, people that doesn't have access to go to towns to do medical mission, we should be able to reach the inner part of the state to also show our concerns to them. The scholarship is a fine program and project that we are doing. I will make sure that I sustain that program, both at home and here in the US, because we are the ones that are contributing towards it. So we also should benefit, our children should also benefit from that also. and also the program of training our young ones back home, getting them back to be able to get jobs in different fields or be entrepreneurs by themselves. I will also make sure I sustain that. Then I will make sure that AKISAN's account is being audited every time so that we know when we have money to do a project and when we don't have money to stop doing a project when we don't have money. So that this association will never, ever run on a negative trail again. Because if we don't do that, we will always have a problem of having a negativity when we're presenting account. But I will make sure that we watch that part, audit it, make sure that we have what it takes to do a particular project before we go ahead for it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Kun.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for the question. That is the last, Professor Ita, thank you so much for asking the last question. That is actually the last question from the general public. We wanted to allow each of the candidates to ask each other a question for about one or 2 minutes, and then if time permits, then the moderator have one question for all the candidates. So in this order, Engineer Isong, Ekpenyong would ask Engineer Mbong and Emmanuel a question. Engineer Mbong would ask Isong and Emmanuel would ask Engineer Mbong and Isong a question. Are we clear, gentlemen? Okay. So again, so Engineer Isong, okay, you have asked a question to Engineer Mbong and Ekiko on the things that you agree with, some of his tenants, things that you disagree with, things you agree with, and then we'll have a minute or two to answer.
Yeah, thank you for that. And so just so that I'm clear, I'm going to ask Engineer Mbong a question, and then I will, after his response, I will ask Engineer Emmanuel, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thanks. So my good friend, Engineer Mbong, I know we just recently concluded the convention in San Diego, at the council meeting in New York, the financial report, which had taken quite a while to finalize, eventually was finalized and shared. Can you provide us a high-level overview on how we did financially relative to that convention execution?
Thank you so much, Honorable Isong, for that question. As I said earlier, the convention is one of the most complex productions in our association's history. And before we went to San Diego, I put out a survey to survey our community that said San Diego is an expensive town. If we had a family vacation convention, would you go? We had an 85% response rate on that convention. It was voted unanimously in San Francisco to go to San Diego. San Diego convention, like I said, is one of those things that it is a community event. It's a national event. And I know there's some talks about what would happen in San Diego or not. One of the things I want to tell our community is we have to fill the void. We have seen a decline in government funding of our convention. I helped raise $30,000 in sponsorship towards that convention. We need to be able to augment the fact that the government's funding is being declined in our convention. So thank you for that question. Conventions are always a challenge. It's more of a national event. But what I did personally to help that convention was help raise $30,000 in sponsorship. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. So Engineer Emmanuel Akpan, my dear friend, you are a member of the Board of Trustees and you've been a member for some time. Can you tell me what changes you would make to the Board of Trustees to make it operate, to allow it to operate more efficiently? What are some of the shortcomings of the board based on your observations?
Engineer Akpan.
Yes, thank you so much, Isong. I'm so much happy because you were once a board member and a treasurer of the Board of Trustees for 6 years. Knowing very well what is going on in the Board of Trustees, we need to have a youth seat in the Board of Trustees, because youth are shying away because of, they say, oh, they're not being involved in what is going on. So I will, as the national president, move forward to enact, to make sure that we have some changes that we get in youth. And I will also make sure that the Board of Trustees have the absolute right and authority to be the final say on the finances of this great organization as the way they're supposed to, so that they monitor and do a check and balance with the ESCO and the Council of Chapter President, the way the Board of Trustees should act in any non-governmental organization. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next round of question will be Engineer Mbong, Engineer Isong.
Thank you very much, moderator, for the opportunity to ask my colleague, esteemed colleague, Isong. Isong, you know, AKISAN is a complex organization. You know, it takes leaders, great leaders, to be able to manage this association. During the campaign process, you know, there were no missteps at all coming out of my camp. I want to ask you on yours, there was some discussions around some issues around misrepresentation of ads that said all women endorsed Isong or all youths endorsed Isong. I didn't see a communication come out of your camp. So I just want to put that out there. Like I said, complex organization, missteps. What are your thoughts around what happened there, and what's the clarity on that miscommunication?
Thank you for that question. And yes, there was communication that went out, endorsements titled AKISAN Women Endorses Isong Ekpenyong. And so from our campaign perspective, there was really no misstep when you look at it. And so the reason I say that is because those women that were on the video are women. They are members of AKISAN, and they endorse Isong Ekpenyong. And so when that video went out, there was no calculated motive, nothing underlining to paint a picture that all women in AKISAN endorse Isong Ekpenyong. And so after some backlash from some high-ranking members, the campaign team did announce that we were going to do something, and we did. And so we put out a new video, and we removed AKISAN from the title, and it just simply stated women endorse Isong Ekpenyong. And that's what we did moving forward. We removed AKISAN, the label of AKISAN, when we put out future publications, just so that we did not misconstrue or mislead the general public.
All right, thank you for the question. Isong Ekpenyong, going to my esteemed candidate, Emmanuel. So Emmanuel, you know, we don't have to be the national president to help the association. Like right now, I have about 4,500 in sponsorship towards the Nashville, Tennessee. It's not my convention, but AKISAN, we have to support. We all need to lean in. I'm helping out with ads. I'm helping out with lessons learned feedback. In this debate, you talked about you have people who can help you with write grants. Is there any challenge with having them write that grant right now? They don't need to wait till you're president. What can you do to have those individuals write the grant right now? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ekiko. You know, you raised funds during my last convention through sponsorship, and you did not just raise that fund within 2 weeks or 1 month of it. You started it on time. That is why, as the next national president, I've started the program and the project on time. I started the consultation on time. Starting now to say we should write a grant for the next convention in the next 3 months. You know how corporate societies are working. That grant will not go through the process that is supposed to go so that we have it during the convention. I've been working behind the scene, and you know, you are in the fundraising committee. I am in that same fundraising committee. We've been giving our ideas on how to get some money to make sure that this present convention is going on well. And I'm guaranteeing you, when I become the next national president, you will see money coming to this organization through grants and through other collaborations with other institutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Emmanuel. Thank you. Back over to you, moderator.
Wonderful, wonderful. The next question will come from Emmanuel Akpan, Emmanuel Akpan, to Engineer Dr. Mbong and Engineer Isong.
Thank you. Thank you, my moderator. My first question goes to Engineer Ekiko. Engineer Ekiko. Ekiko, thank you so much for coming out to run for the national president after coming out of a negative convention in your chapter. So my question goes, for a few years now, the association has been losing money after convention. And you just stated that you raised 30,000 from a sponsorship before the convention in San Diego. And now we also run at the negative. How will you change that perceptive so that the next convention, we will have a positive convention? Because we're talking about getting money around the year, getting money from global and all that. How will we get a positive financial standing in this great organization under your watch?
Thank you so much, Engineer Akpan, for the question. And like I've said before, the convention is one of the most complex productions in our history. It doesn't take away from the great work that was done from everybody to pull off one of the most spectacular conventions in our history. But I also say, Engineer Akpan, you were part of that convention team. You actually emceed the convention. I pulled you in to serve as an MC. So it's a shared accountability. It is no one person. We need to take the entire association to lean in and help to drive fundraising. Two things I want to point out, and I've commended the current administration. Despite inflation, they kept the registration at $100, okay? And also the fund coming in from our state government is declining. So we need to partner as an association to reverse the trend, to increase funding in our convention. I'm doing it right now. Like I said, 4,500 in potential sponsors going to Nashville is not even my convention. So we all need to lean in and help to improve the convention. It's all of ours, not one person. Thank you.
So about Ekiko. And to Isong Ekpenyong, my dear brother, my question goes to us. What will you do to strengthen and build on the various groups within the association, be it the women wing, the young professionals, and the youth wing, so that this great association becomes stronger than what it is today?
Well, thank you for that question, my esteemed engineer Emmanuel. So what I would do is, and as I talked about my 7-point agenda, it begins with inclusivity. That's bringing everyone to the table. That's AKISAN youth, AKISAN women. And so what I would do is make sure that when an AKISAN youth at the national level looks across the table, they're seeing multiple youths in positions of leadership. The same with AKISAN women, making sure that we incorporate women into my exco and that we can use the diversity of ideas and drive AKISAN forward. And so beyond the AKISAN women and youth, we have so many provincial organizations that also exist that are, I would say, umbrella organizations. I would like to bring all of those organizations into the fold, leverage the convention as an opportunity to have all of those organizations come in and support us, set up a site on our website where we have all of those provincial organizations have a link to their main website and build up from there. So thank you for that question.
Wonderful. Thank you, gentlemen, for that engaging answers, and they will differ with each other, even though we don't have that much time. Before we wrap up this debate, with 1 minute closing remark from all the candidates, my co-moderator is going to have just one question for all the candidates, and this is his personal question, not from the general public. This is a personal question. Professor Ita.
Thank you very much, Professor Kun. Gentlemen, thank you for a very enlightening debate today. It's very interesting that all of you are engineers. So my question is an engineering question. My question is, what branch of engineering did you study in the university, and how has that engineering background prepared you for the presidency of AKISAN? And I'll start with Engineer Isong.
Yeah, so I studied automotive engineering. I went to Central Michigan, received my bachelor's degree. I went to MTU, Michigan Tech University, received the designing engineer certificate. I've been an engineer in General Motors for a number of years. I'm currently a manager, an engineering group manager within General Motors. And so that engineering degree has helped me from the standpoint that operational management is what is needed to drive AKISAN and move AKISAN and accelerate the momentum that AKISAN is currently on. And I believe that if we elect me as your next national president, I'm going to bring that operational management into full. And what I mean by operational management is establishing goals, smart goals, and then statusing those goals and holding me accountable for those goals. And I've stated that one of the first things that I'm going to do within my first 30 days is to set up, have a meeting with the leaders of this organization, establish goals for the year, and then we can use that to guide us as a Bible for members to, again, check in to see how well we do through the course of the year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Same question goes to Engineer Akpan. What branch of engineering did you study in the university?
Excuse me. I mean, I'm not.
Go ahead, Professor.
Yes. So same question goes to Engineer Akpan, and the question is, what branch of engineering did you study in the university, and how has that branch of engineering or your engineering background prepared you for the presidency of AKISAN?
Thank you so much, Prof. I studied physics in University of California. Get my BSc Physics safe at KB State. Went to Aviation School of Aviation Institute of Engineers. Studied there. I get my A&P license to work as a flight engineer. And now I'm working with American Airlines, the biggest airline in the world now. And I'm working as one of the engineers. I fix plane from nose to tail. I can troubleshoot it, get it overhauled, get it fixed, and get it out of the door. What will I bring from my experience into this great organization? The number one thing that is in there is safety. You have to do it the way that your family should go in. So I will make sure that AKISAN is an organization that even our family and everybody will be proud to get in and be part of.
Thank you very much. Engineer Ekiko, same question. What branch of engineering did you study in the university, and how has your engineering background prepared you for the presidency of AKISAN?
Thank you so much for the question. So I have a background in electrical engineering, a master's in electrical with data communications, and I also have a doctorate in organizational management. And then I had graduate level certificate in strategy and vision. So as a system engineer, I integrate engineering, all disciplines, not all engineering disciplines, to design, build, and deliver systems. I work for the #1 aerospace company on the planet. In that role is how I've managed in AKISAN when I was a CCP. I was the most collaborative leader. Before the beginning of the year, I pulled all the chapter presidents in and we'll brainstorm our strategy, our vision, and our path. So my engineering background, coupled with my doctorate in business and organizational management, coupled with my strategy and vision graduate level certificate, is why you see me talk about AKISAN's transformation. The entire world is transforming. Those who do not like change will not like irrelevance. So we need to transform. So I got the vision, the strategy, and the transformational ideas to help drive us forward. And my educational background has driven that, including the partnership with a lot of industries to help us drive that as well. So thank you very much for that question.
Thank you, Professor Kun.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Ita. Guys, we are very proud of you. We consider three of you guys the cream of the crop and the Akwa finest. I'm going to allow you the opportunity to give a 1 minute closing remark, but my personal question, to all of you, starting with the engineer, Dr. Mbong Ekiko, is very simple. How would you balance your personal interests and AKISAN interests as the president?
Thank you, moderator. I have been doing that for the past 15 years. I've been with AKISAN in 20. The first 5 was just as a participant, but the last 15 has been in increasing leadership roles. So I'm able to balance the AKISAN activity as well as my professional activity, including my family activity. Like I said, before this event, I was producing beauty pageant videos for Nashville to drum up that support. So I've been doing it for 15 years, and I will do it as long as the AKISAN community wants me to continue to do that. But I bring in a lot of business expertise coupled with our cultural expertise, coupled with AKISAN in-depth knowledge and leadership to be able to support our greater organization. I think we're at a pivotal point. We cannot go back. We have come a long way in 37 years. We cannot go back. So you need a leader like Engineer Dr. Mbong Ekiko, who understands what it takes, the leadership, the vision to transform our association. So I'll be able to balance that. I've done it for 15 years. I'm willing to do for the next 2 terms as you send me to the leadership of AKISAN's CEO. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Ekiko. The same question will go to Engineer Isong, Ekpenyong. How will you balance your personal interests and AKISAN interests if you become the president?
Well, thank you for that question. As I've mentioned, I've been living in AKISAN for 21 years, and I haven't had an issue balancing my career, balancing family, and also balancing running AKISAN and participating at various levels. And so I think the advantage that we have with me as your next president is that I've been a national executive. I understand what it's like to sit behind that desk and to be hit with various issues, some expected, some unexpected. And so I did it before as your national secretary. I'll be able to do it again as your national president. And I have the experience, and I have the capability, and I have the know-how. And so I have a supportive system at home. My wife, who's also a chapter president, Metro Detroit chapter, she understands what it's like to give everything to the community, which is what I've done for the past 21 years. And it's not only within AKISAN. There are various other organizations that I give a piece of my life to. My children understand that. They've come to conventions, and they're all on board.
Thank you so much, Engineer Ekpenyong. And the same question goes to Emmanuel. How would you manage or balance, your personal interest and AKISAN interest?
Thank you so much.
It's a little glitchy.
The moderator. First, and I so much love AKISAN. That's why I said at the beginning, I got a woman, I will, as your national president, make sure that every activity and program of this great organization is #1 priority. And my family is behind me to do that. Even my kids, they are behind me to go for the national president. They said they're going to give me all the time in the world that is needed to execute this program and this project, which is AKISAN becoming a stronger association. So my job, my family will not disturb me 1 bit or 1 second, not to focus and deliver on the promises that I've made to the people of the community. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen, for that question. And last but not the very least, again, we're going to start with just a 1 minute, a closing remark from all the candidates, starting from Engineer Dr. Mbong Ekiko. 1 minute. And also to add to that, I want you to address a personal interest, not a family, personal interest. But yeah, a personal interest as an AKISAN president versus, with the AKISAN interest, personal interest.
No, thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. Thank you again, as I said earlier, to council. Thank you to the general membership for spending the evening with us. Thank you to my family who's on the call, San Diego chapter, and instrumental, our planning committees, the team, the convention, my dream team. Thank you so much for doing that. And everybody else for joining this. I hope with this session, you've been convinced that I am the right candidate to lead our association into the future. I am oriented around a clear vision. I have the in-depth leadership to drive AKISAN forward. You need someone like me. I can engage from that young, the youth, the women, state government, corporate executive. I could engage at all levels. I have a clear vision for where we need to take our association. I want to partner with you to do that. Thank you so much for the opportunity. This has been one of the best things that happened as part of this process, engaging with the community. So let's deliver the dream. The future never just happens, it is created. AKISAN community, let's partner, imagine a future AKISAN, and let's go off and create it. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you, moderator, and everybody have a great one. Thank you so much.
Professor Kun.
As a call, have we ended the call?
Okay, Engineer Isong on closing remarks.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And let me just make some reflections. So as we've gone through this election process, one of the things that I've observed is that we focus on the negative things, negative aspects of this organization, what's the things that need to be fixed, things that are wrong, things that are broken. And so I just want to remind us all that, you know, there are positive aspects of this organization that we need to be proud of. And there's certainly nothing wrong with us going from good to great. And I know there's a heightened focus on, let's fix this, let's fix that. But then we lose sight of those positive elements that we have. And for me, what comes to mind is longevity. We've been here for 37 years. And I can tell you thousands of organizations have come and gone during that 37 years. Evolution is another thing that's positive that's come to mind. We started off meeting in people's houses, having conventions in people's basements in Atlanta. And so we've progressed to where we're meeting in 1,000-room hotels. Agility, we've been able to pivot to react to emergencies back in Akwa Ibom State. And in resiliency, we've had our shares of bumps and bruises, but we've been able to sustain. So ladies and gentlemen, I am your guy to move AKISAN from good to great. Vote for Isong Ekpenyong.
Engineer Emmanuel Akpan, closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. Thank you so much, AKISAN National. Thank you so much, AKISAN Philadelphia. Thank you so much, everybody, for supporting me to lead this organization come August. My mission is rooted on the belief that a stronger association is built on the pillars of inclusivity, integrity, advocacy, and collaborative development. That's why I come out with that acronym, STRONGER. It stands for unity, cultural preservation, and also it stands for transformation and innovation. This is what is going to come out and make this organization to go to the next level that we need this organization to be. This organization, Akwa Ibom State Association of Nigeria, is one organization that is a leading Nigerian organization in this country, and I will make it to be the standout organization that is supposed to be among the Nigerian organizations in this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Akpan. Professor Kun. Okay. Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for finding time to attend this virtual debate. It has been an absolute pleasure to interact with the three presidential candidates. And I'm sure that members of AKISAN, they have had a mouthful, an earful of information regarding what these candidates will contribute to the organization. And on behalf of the National President of AKISAN, Engineer Ekpenyong, the Chairman of the Electoral Committee and members of the Electoral Committee, I just want to say thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Electoral Committee. Thank you, moderators. Excellent job once again. And we'll see you in Nashville.